This episode of Truth Table is brought to you by InterVarsity Press, whose vision is to catalyze redemption, restoration, and revival in our divided and broken world. Follow IVP on Twitter at IVPress and visit IVP's website at www.ivpress.com. Hey y'all, welcome to Truth Table, Midwives and Culture for Grace and Truth. I'm McKemini.
I'm Michelle.
This table is built by Black women and for Black women. So welcome to the table, Em. How you doing, girl?
Well. Feels like a magic day. Feels like a good day for some magic.
You know what? You're right. It does feel like a magical day, right? Because you know what? Christina's not here. That's not to say that she's without magic. We're not saying that. We're just saying she's not here, which means that we have a Black girl magic interview. Cue the charms. Y'all like my little sheer magical arms? I love this shirt.
Yeah, the black and yellow. Black girl.
I like it. I like it. You know, yeah. But, you know, Christina's not at the table, but it's a Black Girl Magic interview, and we have the honor of having JL Alexander here at the table with us. Welcome to the table, JL. How you doing, sis?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. Super excited about our interview today.
Yes, wonderful. We are so glad to have you here at the table. So why don't I tell our sisters a little something about you before we get going?
Sure.
Just in case y'all don't know about JL has established herself as a communications professional with a true commitment to community engagement through her passion for health and fitness over the last 11 years. She is the owner of the Vaughn Strategy, a public relations consulting business, and also serves as the owner and CEO of Black Girls Run. After serving as the brand manager for 6 years, she is also the founder and executive director of the Black Girls Run Foundation. A native of Norfolk, Virginia, Mrs. Alexander received her communications degree from George Mason University and her master's degree in strategic public relations from Virginia Commonwealth University. She is currently enrolled at the University of Notre Dame in the nonprofit executive leadership program. Mrs. Alexander has a passion for running, loves shopping and traveling. She is also a member of Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and she's a public relations and the Public Relations Society of America. She and her husband Chris reside in Richmond, Virginia, with their son Chris Jr. and their dog Luna. Welcome to the table, JL.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
Of course. You know, actually, I when I saw that you're an AKA, Christina is also an AKA. So I'm sad you didn't get to meet her, but you know,
it's all good.
It's your solo. So, JL, I would just love to hear from you about your own faith journey. How did you come to faith in Jesus Christ? Give us your testimony, sis.
Oh, wow. You know, as an adult, I look back and I was like, I see the nuggets that my parents would drop in, not intentionally, but discreetly. Like it wasn't, faith was, and religion was never forced upon us, but we knew that we were going to church every Sunday. That's like right. We were going to Sunday Bible school, vacation Bible school over the summer. We knew my grandmother would have, the church reunion and homecoming in the summertime. And so we were baptized. We went through the regular, Black folks stuff. But you, as a child, as it becomes a routine, that's all you know, so to speak. And so I was raised up through the church, if you will, still have a relationship with the church that I grew up in. I went to a Catholic middle school. So, I don't know if that was a religious standpoint. Obviously, I'm not Catholic, right. But, just to add a little bit more structure in my life, I went to a church school. And so, and then after high school and college, as I became an adult, it was like, well, no, if I don't have to wake up on Sunday mornings,
Right.
I'm not going to church.
I understand.
So, you go through your phase of when you think you're grown and you think you know it all. And then you get to a point in your life and you're like, all right, what am I doing? Like, Lord Jesus, like, and you need something, you figure, okay, I need to strengthen my prayer life. I need to get on track. I need to get some consistency in my life. And you start finding yourself going back to church and strengthening your faith because you're realizing that you need to, something's going on in your life and you need a larger power, to start bringing to where you need to be. And so I would say I definitely started going back to church consistently as I was in my mid-20s, as I started to get into my career and all of that good stuff. And, my faith has just continued to strengthen and, it ebbs and flows like everything else. When something's going on in my life, I'm like, all right, God, what you doing here?
Come on.
And so, but I think it's that conversation with God that I consistently have. And I think that's what he expects of us, is that we continue to talk to him, whether it's in prayer or just casually talking, to let us know that he's there, and he's always there. And so that's kind of where my faith is. I haven't been to church since pre-pandemic,
right?
And I'm not a bedside Baptist church either. So,
right.
So I haven't been consistent over the pandemic, but my prayer life is still there. And so my faith is still strong. And so that's kind of my journey over the last 34 years or so of my life.
I love that journey. It's so relatable, right? To myself, and I'm sure to the sisters at the table. And I love you said, I'm not bedside Baptist, but this is a pandemic. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Right. And I have an almost 2-year-old at home. So, trying to sit in front of a laptop to watch church service on a Sunday morning and cook breakfast and make sure that the family is taken care of. We just haven't gotten that down pat yet. So something got to come off the table. And unfortunately, it's watching church on the phone. We haven't made that a routine.
You can listen while you run. Worship.
Yeah, exactly. I watch the playback for sure.
Yeah, I have 2 children and they're 8 and 10. And when we're sitting watching church on the computer, church on, try to put YouTube on our screen, they have more questions, talk even more. So like, I find I can't even pay attention and listen, but I'm like, all right, Lord.
You can't even focus. Right. Exactly.
You have a plan for your life.
Yeah, we here.
Oh, well, I love hearing about your faith journey and even knowing that the way you said, listen, I just did all the Black stuff. That has to be my favorite part of the background. We love a good Black church upbringing. That's our womb. That's our home. Now, my question is, I'm looking over your social media that you're a Serena fan. We have that in common. That's my home. That's my goal. That's golf. Her attitude, her workout routine. Oh, all the Black women in her are shining through. How did you decide through just the figuring out different pieces of your personality, figuring out how you want to present, the way that you're interacting with friends or with your own purpose? How did you decide to plant and focus on fitness and well-being for what you do with your life and time? And was sports or any other kind of fitness thing involved? Or did you discover that kind of on your own? How do those things fit together?
So I was always an athlete growing up. Okay. So, fitness has been a part of my life. But again, it's kind of those like, okay, I come from very old school parents, and it's like, okay, you're in school, but what also are you doing extracurricular? So, I played basketball, I played softball. So that sports has always been a part of my life. My parents are also very avid sports people as well. Okay. My father played basketball overseas. My mom was a college volleyball player. They still play tennis, even in their mid 70s. So they're super active. So health and wellness has just always been a conversation in my home. Again, just something that I've always known. And then it was not until I became adult and it was like, well, since I'm not under their house no more, that means I don't have to do this. And that's when the weight came on, when I stopped doing what mommy and daddy said. And, they were trying to keep me away from that, but that's the life that I, when I wasn't under their household and then I was out all times of the night and, eating and drinking, whatever. That's when the weight came on. And so I was like, all right, this is my early 20s. I started experiencing high blood pressure and headaches and all of that. And I had a great OB was like, JL, you are too young to be going on blood pressure medication. And she was an advocate of just go and change your lifestyle and your diet. And that's what I did. I signed up for a 10K. Wow. And that's when I fell in love with running a decade ago. And so at the time I wasn't even with Black Girls Run. I was just doing it on my own. I was actually introduced to BGR through my professional background, which is marketing and PR. And so it really came the merge of my passion as well as my professional expertise that I was introduced to BGR and just kind of how that journey started over a decade ago.
Wow. Man, what a segue in the way that God, I think it's a testament to how God will just none of our passions, our gifts, our skills are wasted, right? And God has a way of intervening or interweaving all those things together, right? And so yours was like, okay, I'm going to sign up for this 10K, which I'm like, wow, all right now. Didn't start with a 5, she said 10. I'm going to just start going back to the gym. I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, you're early. I was probably 23 at the time. So, if you're going to go out there, you go hard or you go home. Now, if I was starting to run right now, then I probably would start off with a 5K. But at 23, you feel invincible.
Yes. I just love how it's just like all of that just came together for you. And I'm just curious, this is actually something I was going to ask you later, but since you already started off with the 10K, what would you say? What would you say to the sisters at the table that are like, you know what? Maybe they've noticed that they've gained weight and I'm being body positive and I want to be sensitive, because I'm not saying that everybody you love the body that you're in. But if the sisters at the table feel like, I'm not happy with the way I'm looking right now. Right. And I want to change some things. I want to make some lifestyle changes. And I do want to run, but I hate running, or I know I should run, right? Because I know it's good for me. It's good cardio. But how do I get started? How do I overcome the inner voice that says, I can't do this? I'm dying. I'm running out of breath. What do you say to those sisters? I am sisters. And how do you overcome that? How do you start to get into that stride where you're like, I got this runner's high and I really feel like I love running. Like, how does that happen? Talk to the sisters.
It's really a combination of doing a mental check as well as consistency. So, as you mentioned at the beginning, like if I'm not feeling the skin that I'm in, and it's like, well, figure out what the intentions are, because, as you get older, the weight does not come off any quicker. And, it can't be a fad. Oh, I need to just get into this dress, or I need to get my summer body.
That's right.
No, this should really be a lifestyle. The Black community, especially Black women, we are just, as a people, we are just so unhealthy. So we have to be consistent and we have to be committed. So it's just small steps. Okay. Just go outside and start moving. I don't care if you run. I don't care if you skip. I don't care what you do.
Right.
We just want you to be active. Just get out the house. And as you start to do those consistent behaviors, build up your endurance, build up that commitment and consistency, you'll start doing it on a regular basis. You'll start seeing your body changing. You don't have to do that, how we do with our jeans, where we got to do that extra jump. We don't have to do that extra jump or fall back on the bed to try to get the zipper up. You'll see those little things change, and you'll start to like, okay, something's working here. And if it's even, sometimes physical activity, is not the first step. It could just start in the kitchen. Nutrition is really the hardest thing. Physical activity just comes on the side, but nutrition, just doing small things in the kitchen of not eating late or not, my guilty pleasure is cinnamon toast crunch at like 2 a.m., or increasing your water intake. So, it's just doing those small steps. And I think we have to get away. Of course, it's great to have those large, big picture goals like, hey, I want to lose 50 pounds.
Yes,
but hey, let's trim those goals down to figure out where are the small wins that we can do right now that will keep us to continue to be motivated and keep us consistent.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I love me some cinnamon toast crunch too. So
girl,
I appreciate your confession.
2 a.m. It kills me, and I keep buying it from the grocery store. I don't
look. We're going through a lot. Okay, we're in a pandemic,
right? But it's killing me though. Like, and this is so personal. But I had my first cavity last month in 34 years. My first cavity, and my husband was like, "It's because you're eating cinnamon toast crunch at 2 a.m. and not brushing your teeth afterwards." And I was like, yeah, you're probably right.
You get devastated when you hear that news. That you're like, wait, what? 34? And I just got a cavity just now?
A cavity? Like, I feel like I had like yuck mouth or something.
Yuck mouth.
I was like, oh my God. I was like, a cavity? I was like, JL, stop. So now I do it maybe 2 days a week. I don't do it because I was really bad. I only do about 2 days a week now.
There you go.
But it's still not, it's baby steps, right? That's a win because it was every night. But so yeah, that's baby my life right now.
No, but pandemic, that's real.
Pandemic introduced some bad habits.
Right. I think baby steps is real too because let's say that one of your bad habits is self-shaming, right? Beyond, okay, your blood pressure is going somewhere. Beyond, all right, we're in trouble with the cholesterol. We're in trouble with the sugar intake. What if one of your bad habits is self-deprecation and your exercise is not necessarily to feel better in your skin or to achieve a goal, but because you believe you'll stop hating yourself if you achieve a certain weight? What's the encouragement?
Yeah, no, I get that
strength. Yeah, that you would give to women who they need the right reason to get into fitness and nutrition.
As a Black culture, we love the, small waists, big butts, all of that good stuff. And so we have to realize that, we were created in different shapes, sizes, colors, and all of that. And so, yeah, you do have to love the skin that you're in. You have to speak affirmations in your life because you're going to be your biggest cheerleader. So, but again, you do have to have the right mindset that you can't be going after a particular body goal. It's a holistic approach, your mental check in terms of exercise, the physical check in terms of exercise, how you're improving your health overall with physical fitness. So it's definitely a combination of things. When like I mentioned, your health and fitness journey ebbs and flows. When I started running at 23, I was tipping the scale around 200 pounds. And then just 2 years ago, 12 hours before giving birth to my son, I tipped the scale at 300 pounds. So my weight loss journey has ebbed and flowed. But one thing I can confidently say is that I have loved the skin I am in, whether I'm 180 pounds or whether I'm 300. And so I think it's, continuing to build yourself up, but even as just Black women, we have to build each other up as well. Like, hey girl, yes, sister girl, you doing that. Like, just continue to speak affirmations in each other's lives and realize that each of our journeys are the same, but we are absolutely a beautiful people. And we just have to we have to own that. And I think that's where it really starts.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Yes. Beginning to love yourself, right? That's a priority. And even in the word, Jesus tells us to love our neighbors as ourselves, right? So we actually have to love ourselves as well. So yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Why don't we go ahead and take a quick commercial break? And when we come back, we will still be at the table with JL Alexander. So keep it locked, y'all. Sisters, y'all know that here at the table, we do try to make sure that we have paid homage to our Indigenous neighbors. And that's why we are so honored to present to you IVP's First Nations Version, an Indigenous translation of the New Testament by Terry M. Wildman. If you're looking to experience the scriptures afresh, the First Nations Version captures the simplicity, clarity, and beauty of Native storytellers' oral tradition in English. Whether you are Native or not, you will experience the creator's story in a fresh and new way in the FNV. In an easy-to-read style, the First Nations Version captures the cadence and feel of an oral storyteller and adheres to a contextual approach using English word choices and idiomatic phrases that are culturally relevant with an effort to refrain from a stereotypical or culturally degrading simplicity. An audio version of the FNV will be available soon. Terry Wildman is the lead translator, general editor, and project manager for the First Nations Version. He serves as the director of spiritual growth and leadership development for Native University. He is also the founder of Rain Ministries and has previously served as a pastor and worship leader. Along with Terry, the voices of over 25 Native tribes usher the reader into the cultural and linguistic thought patterns found in their original tongues, following the tradition of Native storytellers' oral cultures. This way of speaking, with its simple yet profound beauty and rich cultural idioms, still resonates in the hearts of the First Nations people. Truth Table listeners, our sisters at the table, you can save 30% off and get free U.S. shipping on First Nations Version when you order at ivpress.com using promo code TRUTH21. That's promo code TRUTH21 to get 30% off and get free shipping within the United States when you use the promo code TRUTH21 and purchase at ivpress.com. This offer expires on September 30th, so y'all jump on it. And we are back at the table with JL Alexander, our Black Girl Magic guest. So, JL, my goodness, it has been a time of confession. It's been some good storytelling, some good stories just about your own passion and convictions. And I'm curious about how it is that you became the CEO of Black Girls Run, and how did Black Girls Run come to be? Why do we need a Black Girls Run? Why do we need to declare that?
Yeah, it's not a long story, but in a nutshell, Black Girls Run started in 2009. It actually started off as a blog before social media and blogging became what it is now. Now it's a whole industry, if you will. And our co-founders, they had just graduated from college. They had put on, some weight, and they had started running and journaling their experiences. And at these races, they realized that they were just a few of a handful of Black women at these races. And they were like, hold on, something's wrong here. Like, why are we just peppered into these, phenomenal events that are happening? We should really create a community. And they found a niche. They did a call out saying, hey, we're running the Atlanta Peachtree Race in July. If anyone wants to run with us, let us know. And they had, a few dozen women show up saying, hey, yeah, girl, like I want to run this, but I didn't know anybody that ran. I'm trying to do this, and, I'm great. I'm so grateful to find some other sisters that want to run as well. And literally from there, it just grew like a grassroots movement, lit fires under communities across the country to start creating this movement called Black Girls Run. And then here we are over a decade later. And we have cities across the country, a couple 100,000 groups not groups, but members across the country. So we have a huge footprint now. Yeah. I started with BGR, as I mentioned, when I first started running, but I was introduced to them from my marketing and PR side. They were looking for branding assistance as they took off nationally. And I was introduced to the co-founders through a professional mentor. And they were like, JL, we see you starting to run. Well, and they need some assistance with branding. You just got out of grad school. Like, hey, I think this would be the perfect merge. And so flew up to New York, managed a media event for them. And that was almost a decade ago. Slept head to toe with them in a studio apartment up in New York.
Yes.
First time meeting them, which sounds crazy now. I'm like, I could have been a part of a whole sex trafficking system.
No.
Like who was like who? Like literally, my steps were ordained because that could have gone completely left. Like I'm like, who approved this trip? But then like all of our husbands' names are Chris. Like it was like little, it's like little stuff that it was just like this is just weird, but it works. And so over the last decade, I just became like the right hand person for our co-founders, learned the business in and out. Was just that person, if you will. And then at the end of 2017, the organization started to kind of take a turn in terms of leadership and all of that. And I had the opportunity to buy the company, and bought the co-founders out. And now here we are 3 years later, I sit as the CEO and owner. So that's kind of how it came to fruition or came full circle.
My goodness.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's crazy starting off as a volunteer. And then I was able to actually buy the company, about 7 years later. And now here we are 10 years later.
Go JL, go. Girl, black girl magic, girl.
That's what I'm saying. It's all laid out like, no big deal, no big deal. Then I bought the co-founders out. No big deal.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy when you talk about it. It's like, yeah, that's exactly what happened, but everything just happened not perfectly. You know, there's always nuances, but things really did, like, it was definitely like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, things have not been easy, but I can definitely say it has been a blessing, just this journey that I've been on.
Oh, that's amazing. And truly, when you think about the PR side and how your relational sort of prowess had to be a huge part of your moving up so swiftly. So you said that you were connected through a professional mentor. What is mentoring? What does that look like, especially for changing people's holistic health outlooks? How is mentoring and relationships deeply connected to the work that you're doing?
Yeah, so I mean, I think, a mentor is on different levels, and it's whether it's personal or professional, I think there's always someone that we can aspire to, consult with, feel confident and comfortable asking questions. And even if, they're not officially your mentor, I think there's always someone that knows someone or someone within your space to say, hey, I know she's been through this, or I know she's going through this. Let me just ask her a question. And I think we need more of that in the Black community, to say, hey, I know Jay runs a business and I'm trying to do XYZ. Let me just pick up the phone and call her. And that's probably the biggest thing for me. Mentorship has meant so much, because over my last 10 years, I haven't had a lot of Black mentors. Most of the folks that I've reached out to, it's been white folks helping me out. And it's been information that my mom or my dad didn't know. And it's like, where do I go find a lawyer to help me with the acquisition of a business? Where do I find like a tax accountant to help me with, filing for a 501c3? And I was always directed to white people. And it's like, well, now that I have this information, how can I help my people out? How can we keep that information within our community and build each other up? So mentorship means a lot, whether it's, physical fitness, finding a mentor to keep you encouraged to just stay active and stay motivated. But it could be business and relational as well. And I think it doesn't have to have that official mentor title. Like I said, it could just be just picking the phone up and knowing who to call and having those relationships that you feel comfortable enough to ask those questions when you need help.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, my goodness, I'm curious, to know from you, JL, how do you balance, or have you been balancing? Maybe it's confession time.
That was a great face.
We value confession.
Just the word balance. The word balance. Take us to a different place.
The word balance, that's even a trigger these days, right? But how do you balance being a owner and CEO of Black Girls Run, a mother and wife, and also the business owner of the Vaughn Strategy, like your public relations and communications business. How?
It doesn't. It doesn't. It does not get balanced. It does not get balanced.
Okay.
You have to figure out, something's always going to take priority over the other. So for me, it's not a balance. It's like, okay, right now in this present moment, this Black Girl Magic interview is my priority, and it's going to get my attention right now. Everything else has to be on pause.
Yes.
So there's always something that's going to be priority. So for me, it's a matter of things being in harmony. And I don't even think things are in harmony all the time. My husband is a virtual 4th grade school teacher.
Oh, wow.
And, we have an almost 2-year-old. So he's teaching in the morning from 8 to 1.
Okay.
8 to 1, nothing gets done on my schedule except taking care of a 2-year-old.
That's right.
Nothing on my schedule. I don't care what emails are coming through. I don't care who's calling. My 100% attention, and I have to be present for my son, because at that age, he will get into anything.
Yes.
And if I turn my head and if I don't see him, and if he's quiet, if I'm saying, okay, let me sneak this text message in, all hell has broken out.
Yes. With time.
So to answer your question, there is no balance. It's just a matter of trying to figure out what's working, being present in the moment, and just giving your 100% for what you're doing right then, building out a schedule. But when I tell you, something's always not going to get done. And I just said that this morning. I was like, I have way too much going on, and I keep on putting more things on my plate.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why am I doing this? So I have to, my husband was like, all right, you need to sit down and figure out what takes priority. Something's going to have to come off. And I think it's that constant evaluation.
Yes.
That we have to figure out, okay, if I'm feeling tired, if I don't feel like I'm showing up as a mother and a wife, then we need to look at something, and something needs to come off the plate. Sure. And I think it's that constant self-evaluation. That's the only way that we're going to make this thing called life work. Right. But there is no balance. Anybody that says their life is balanced, they lying to you.
That's a word.
They are lying.
That's a word.
That's a word.
Right. We know one or two things about that. We're all juggling things. Truth Table is all juggling something, 5 things at the same time. It's on any given day.
Right. And I mean, just as Black women, strong Black women, determined, we want the career, we want the family, we want the children, we want the accolades. But it's a lot of work to try to achieve all of that. And sometimes it's just, you got to look like, is this all worth it? I'm pouring this in, I'm pouring all of this into a job. And then I come home tired and, my husband looking at me like, this house dirty, food need to be cooked, my child crying. Like, so you got to figure it out. You have to figure it out. And some things will not get done, and you got to be okay with that. And just give yourself grace and keep it moving.
Yeah.
That's it. But you know what? You even just saying, like, there's no balance. There's no balance. I'm just trying to prioritize what's on my plate right then and now. Right. That gives a lot of liberty and grace to the sisters at the table who either feel that same way or who have been killing themselves to get this balance, right? So thank you for being honest about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And there's a lot to be said for people feeling badly for not taking enough rest, or folks who are like, well, I have to push and multitask and juggle. Yeah. So I love what you said about the pause button, to say that if you can pause all the other multis on your task list and just focus on this interview right here, or just focus on your son for the top half of the day, there's so much freedom in saying, I cannot do 15 things at the same time. I simply can't.
Right.
So just telling that truth, that's a beautiful thing. How are you able to?
Yeah, you have to. Yeah. I'm very confident in. I'm very transparent in setting those expectations and setting those boundaries. If I can't take a meeting at 8 a.m., I can't. You guys if you really want me to take this interview or take this call, you got to work with my schedule. That's just where I am right now. And so I always say, you have stand in what you can and can't do. And, if they really want you to be a part of it, they'll make accommodations on their end, to have you be a part of whatever it is. And I always say this goes without saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. And when I get that itch, like, all right, JL, like, you are nothing's operating at 100%. You don't feel well. You're tired. All right, you need to take some days off where you don't have to think about anything. And we all get that itch, like, especially through this pandemic where we haven't been able to vacation, or been doing these staycations, which is not a vacation. We have to listen to those intuitions. Like, okay, it's time to turn something off so we can pour back into ourselves.
Yeah, I feel that. And I also wonder, what does it really look like to pour into self as an example to community? What does it look like to show, like, the sisters who are coming to you for advice? How are you running 2 companies? How are you mothering and wifing and friending? How are you doing all that? What are the things that you're doing? Now, I'm assuming that fitness is actually fun for you by now. And it's not necessarily like,
okay, that's mandatory.
Okay.
That is mandatory. If I don't get a run in, it's not going to be a good day.
Okay. So like a cup of coffee or something.
That is mandatory. There is no... well, I don't drink coffee, but but running is non-negotiable. Like, exercise has to happen because that's my stress relief. That's my time where I don't have, I'm not a mom, I'm not a mother, or I'm not a wife. I'm just out on the pavement running. It's me and my thoughts. And that's my time to turn off for like 30, 45 minutes. And it's the most precious time of the day.
That sounds devotional. Wow. Sounds like a prayer closet.
Right. I be doing a whole lot, crying, talking to God. Then I turn on some ratchet music. It'd be a whole lot going on. It'd be a whole lot going on in that 30, 45 minutes.
I love it.
A whole lot going on in that 45 minutes. But
it's your time. It's your time. And you need that.
It's my time. It's my time.
JL, I want to ask you just one more question about before we get to the Force Fun segment. I want to know, can you talk to us about the Black Girls Run Foundation? What is that? What do y'all do at the foundation? And how can our sisters learn more about that?
Yeah, so Black Girls Run, like I said, we started in 2009, but the foundation came on board in 2018. And this is an opportunity for us to really pour back into the community. So we have so many dynamic women across the country in terms of ambassadors that lead our local groups, run coordinators that are showing up at, 6 a.m. for, a 3-4 mile run. And so we have this dynamic community and we just needed to figure out, okay, how can we support them at a local level? And so this foundation was an opportunity for us to start receiving funding to really support these women, and whether it's professional development opportunities, run training, run coach certifications. We also host training programs. Like right now we have 150 women going through a 5K training program where we pair them with a physical therapist, a run coach, a dietitian. We also outfit them with shoes and clothes. And we provide this, wraparound support for them to really get them started on the right track in terms of running and health and fitness. And so those opportunities like that is where we really pour back into the community to really get Black women up and moving, but then also provide the support that they need. People talk about, running is like an equalizer. Well, no, it's not really. Some people really can't go out their front door and just go for a run. Yes. Running shoes cost $150 and up. The right running shoes, I should say, $150. And if you're really running, you're replacing them almost every 3 months. And then races, you're paying $100 for a half marathon. So, running is not
Wow.
cheap, is not equitable. And so we want to be able to remove those hurdles, if you will, to
Wow.
really afford the opportunity for all women to be able to run and to be able to make healthy living and physical activity a priority.
Wow. That is so wonderful. I did not know that there were those barriers to entry because
Oh yeah.
I'm not a runner. And so but I didn't know that I've never done like a marathon or anything like that. I didn't, but yeah, I guess that does make sense. You do have to pay those are things I just had not thought about. My
Yeah,
goodness.
as you get into the running, as you get into the running field, you want to get, pants that you won't chafe in and those thighs, so your thighs won't rub. Well, that means you got to pay, $85 for a good pair of tights.
Yeah.
You got to start wearing a $100 bra so your girls are protected.
Yeah.
So all of those things really start to add up. So, we want to be able to be that resource for women that they can say, hey, BGR really started me off on the right track.
That's great.
And those weren't hindrances in my life to keep me from achieving this goal.
Wow. My goodness. Thank you for breaking that down. I'm so glad
No
that we got to learn more about the Black Girls Run Foundation, ways that you're supporting Black women who want to get started, in this road, but they're like, money is a barrier. Cause you don't need any other barriers to fitness now.
That's right.
Cause we can,
the mental is hard enough, right?
That's enough, right? And we in a panini. Oh no, we don't need nothing else to keep us. You know what I'm saying? From hitting the pavement. So thank y'all for what you do, JL. Thank you. So it's time. The time has come for Force Fun. This is the hardest part of the interview. I'm just letting you know.
True.
I'm just letting you know. So this is our Force Fun segment. We still don't. We need a theme song, but it's Force Fun. So we're gonna ask you some questions.
Okay.
A little lightning round, and you just gotta answer. You gotta answer. Okay. So the first question I'm gonna ask you is one gotta go.
Okay. I hate this one.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm all ready.
Okay, because people think they ready and they don't be ready. But okay, so one gotta go. Whitney, Shaka, Aretha, Anita. One gotta go. You said you was ready. You said you.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Whitney, Shaka. Okay, you got Aretha.
I'm gonna have to drop Shaka from that group. The other three, those songs are consistent. Those songs are consistently in rotation. But Shaka, you don't play Shaka too often, so that Shaka get dropped from the group. Sorry, Michelle.
Sorry, Michelle. Right? Shaka is often dropped.
That's
so
true.
Jay, I just want you to know that you're not the only one at the table that's dropped Shaka. So
I got you.
And you're all wrong, everybody. That ain't right.
I apologize, Michelle. Who you would have dropped? Anita?
I don't want to say. They did this to me one time. I'm like, I'm quitting. I'm never being a guest on this show again.
She never answered.
I was just wondering. Anita was my second choice, but Anita do some things like you feel a certain way when you hear Anita versus that Shaka song. That's why I kept Anita in my top 3.
Now all the Black women in me love all right, four.
And you got the next one.
Mm-hmm. All right, so if you had to choose one superpower, just one, what is the superpower that you would have?
Probably be able to see the future.
All right. Why that one?
That would probably be my superpower. I guess this is like I don't know if you would call it a vice, but very often I'm always like, I overplan or I overthink, or I'm like, oh, we're planning a family vacation in August. Mm-hmm. That means I need to get another car seat. I need to get another stroller to travel in. I need to so I start listing all these things that I need to buy. Mm-hmm. but the trip is 3 months away. And it's just like, JL, if I'm always like, if I could be just be present a little bit more. My therapist says like, JL, there always will be more. There always will be more.
Come on,
she was like, so be present, be present. But if I could see in the future and it'd be like, okay, oh yeah, I had that. Oh yeah, we good. JL, don't stress about that because I know what's coming.
Then you could be present.
So I don't know. Then I could be present because I already know it's already taken care of. God cleared that out.
That's it.
You know,
God did it.
Why am I stressing about that? That's how it, or if it's something bad coming my way, then, I could better prepare myself. Like, why am I going to set myself up to be even more stressed? Or, so if I could see the future, then we won't have to worry about none of this.
That's it. I love it. Yes. Trying to see the future. I like that. Yeah. That's a good one. I think that's a good choice. For me, I'd be like, I be wanting to know. I'm nosy. I want to know what's coming.
Right. I wouldn't have been stressing about that terrible boyfriend I had 10 years ago.
Okay.
Like God clear that out. I don't need you. Like, oh, you want to leave me? Like, you go ahead. 'Cause in 10 years,
come on,
I know I'm gonna be married.
Come on,
and with a kid. So you can go ahead, whoever you going to.
Come on, Dad. Come on.
It's all
so
good.
Funny. I love it.
That's what's up.
Well, we got one more. I think that was the first time anybody's like preached off of the superpower gift that they want. By the way, I think that's the first to truth table. Like, yeah, we need more of that.
Right.
Okay. The last force fun question I have for you is: if we were to get into your car with our masks on, even though I'm a Pfizer princess, just want to say that. With our masks,
they dropped the mask today. They dropped the mask today.
I was like,
if you fully vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask no more.
I was like, okay, America don't want to get out.
I'm too traumatized for that.
I'm gonna be wearing my mask.
Forever.
Okay, I'm gonna be wearing my mask
forever.
Exactly.
I ain't fooling with y'all. So we getting into your car, JL, with our masks on. What are we gonna hear playing in your car? What we gonna hear, girl?
This is a great face.
Is who's listening right now? These sisters is at the table. Are they?
They can roll with you.
We rock.
It is. I listen to very ratchet music. So. I mean, the other day I was blasting, Biggie. So I felt a little bit 90s old school.
Yeah.
But then, I'll turn it around and listen to Meg and Cardi and Yo Gotti and I'm a rap and hip hop head to the fullest. But I swing between the old school and the new school.
I see you, JL. I see you.
But like I said, I believe in God and I pray. But I'm also a G at the end of the day.
I understand. You got to release your inner gangsta boo. I understand.
I like trap music. I definitely like trap music.
God loves all of you.
I love
everything that you want.
JL, did you watch the Biggie documentary on Netflix? This is off topic, but
I did not watch that.
It's really great. I can't remember what the name of it is right now, but anyway, just go on Netflix and look it up.
Okay,
it's fantastic. Anyway,
I'm gonna have to look it up.
I love Biggie, so you got me here. I was like, we are here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! So that's the end of Force Fun. Good job, JL. You were fantastic.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, JL, this is your time. Talk to our sisters at the table. Let them know how they can follow your work, follow you on social media. Tell them anything you want to plug. Go ahead, sister.
Awesome. So to join our dynamic community, you can head to blackgirlsrun.com, find a group near you, just show up and let's hit the pavement together. We have 75 groups across the country, so I can guarantee that you will find a local city near you. And then we're on all social media, Instagram, Facebook, as well as Twitter. So definitely look us up at Black Girls Run and at official Black Girls Run on IG. And then if you want to follow my personal personal journey for, being a business entrepreneur, wife, mother, and everything in between. You can find me at jlalexander.com and at jlalexander on all social media channels as well. So I look forward to connecting with our Black Girl Magic crew.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for taking a seat at the table with us, JL Alexander. Thank you, sis.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And we want to thank our sisters for taking a seat at the table with us. Let's keep the conversation going. Tweet us your thoughts about Black Girl Magic interview with JL Alexander. And y'all know what to do. Follow us on the Twitters, on the Instagram, on the Facebook, and we'll see you at the table next week. Bye, y'all. We want to thank you for taking a seat at the table with us this week. Let's keep the conversation going. Tweet us your thoughts about this episode using the hashtag Truth Table. Black women, did y'all know that we have our own Black Women's Discipleship group on Facebook? Make sure to follow Truth Table on Facebook and join our Facebook group today. Invite your homegirls too. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Truth Table, or email us your thoughts at info@truthstable.com. Don't forget to rate and review the show on iTunes and subscribe on your favorite podcast player. Truth Table has a Patreon account now, so y'all can send your love offerings to patreon.com/truthstable, or you can bless us at our PayPal, which is paypal.me/truthstable. Truth Table is made possible by Podastery Studios. Visit podastery.com for the highest in quality online audio entertainment. Our producer for the show is Joshua Heath. Our executive producer is Bo York. We have been your hosts, Ekemini, Michelle, and Christina. We'll see you soon on the next Truth Table. Bye, y'all.